Hi everyone, welcome back to the Man Cave of an Acting Teacher for another video. Thanks for your comments about yesterday's video, which was to do with emotion and what method acting is. I hope I dispelled a few myths for you about what method acting is and demystified it a little bit, okay? Thank you for those who sent me messages of support and sympathy for the loss that we had in our house. It was as you've seen on Facebook by now, it's my wife's Aunt Cecil, okay? My wife and her sisters were doing a fundraising thing by running 400 miles between them for the hospice, Our Ladies in Harold's Cross, that Cecil was in. She's now passed away, unfortunately. It was motor neurone disease, not COVID-19, for those who were asking. But they're still going to run the 400 miles, okay? They're more determined than ever to honour her memory and to thank those in Our Ladies Harold's Cross. But thank you for your messages of support as well. Thank you for the messages from people like Clyde in London. It was nice to chat to you this morning. I haven't heard from you for a while, mate, so glad that you're keeping fit and healthy and well and doing a bit of work and getting into it. Another student of mine was recalled to the acting school that she is applying for, a very big acting school. So well done to you. You've got your second round coming up. A pleasure to help, and I hope you do well in the second round, okay? And others as well. There was a question this morning about the Applied Art of Acting, my own 3-month full-time intensive where I teach my technique. It goes from September to the end of November, and yes is the answer. It is going ahead, okay? Obviously, we don't know what life is going to be like at that stage, but I'm hoping that by September it'll be grand. So yes, if you would like to apply, it's just an audition. You can do it by Skype or Zoom or one of these with me, one-on-one, and it's one monologue from any stage play that you need to do that. So you can do that now and secure your spot. I'm not taking deposits or fees off anybody, so don't worry about that. I'm not doing that until I know definitely that it is going to go ahead. But of course, we don't know that. We can't know that at this point. It could even be a case of having to postpone it to October and do October, November, December rather than September, October, November, yeah? It's 12 weeks anyway, so we'll work out a way, so don't worry about that. If you want to audition, just give us a shout, okay? And we'll set up an audition for you. Right, what are we talking about today? Let me get on with it. We're talking about what you put in is what you get out, okay? Now that sounds like a very general, more like a bit of a platitude title for this one, but I am going to make it quite specific, right? Now, yeah, I do get asked questions about people's lives, all right? I think that kind of goes with the territory with being an acting coach. People sort of think that you have wisdom about life and kind of think you're a bit of a life coach in some way, which I am certainly not. I mean, I can barely manage my own existence, let alone anybody else's, right? But what most people ask me, I generally answer with in or around. The answer is usually what you put in is what you get out, right? So if someone asks me, look, Dave, how do I lose weight? To me, I know I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not an expert, but I know that, you know, if I stop eating fat and sugar and exercise a lot, I will lose weight. I think that's pretty true for most people. All of our metabolisms are different, right? A guy the other day said to me, Dave, I'll never have a six-pack like Ronaldo. And I said to him, well, look, mate, I mean, do you go to the gym for 2 hours every day and for the rest of that day, you know, run around a football pitch for 6 hours on a strict diet? You know, if you did what Ronaldo does, you probably will have a six-pack. It's what you put in, you know, is what you get out. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. I mean, I know that if I'd have a six-pack myself if I stopped drinking wine, you know, but I don't want to, you know, especially during this COVID-19 season, right? But yeah, let's make it specific to acting now, right? And look, sure, ask me any question you like, but just remember when I answer, I will precursor it by saying I'm not a nutritionist, right? But this makes sense to me, right? But in acting terms, yes, of course, this is the world that I'm trained in. What you put in is what you get out, and I'm going to answer it in two very specific ways here. Number one, if you have not trained in a specific acting technique, you will not have the tools to apply to the work, to the scripts, okay? So you should do that. And an acting course is what you need rather than a drama course. And drama courses are great, and they're great for confidence and all that kind of stuff. And you play a lot of drama games and do different things, right? That's fine, it's all good. But if you want to have an acting technique where you can stop saying to yourself, am I an actor, right? You need to train and learn an acting technique, okay? That technique gives you what we call real confidence, and that's the confidence to stop asking those questions about yourself. You just are an actor. So if you get a job with Robert De Niro tomorrow, you're not going, oh my God, I'm acting with Robert De Niro, I'm so all at sea, I'm so out of my depth. You're not. You have your acting technique, he has his, and the two of you are going to go to work together. And that's how you should ideally be seeing what you do. And if you're not feeling that way, that's because you haven't learnt an acting technique that you can have the confidence in. So what you put in is what you get out. If you invest your time, and it will cost money, your time, like any skill, your time and your money in actually learning a technique, you can then apply that technique. Okay, so that's number one. I think that's fairly self-evident, right? Now, when you've got your script, your screen test, your self-tape, your audition, whatever it is, again, what you're putting in here is what will come out here. All right. Now, I was talking to Wayne. I mentioned him yesterday about his monologue that he taped and sent to me, and I wanted to answer that in a slightly more detailed way. All right. So ask yourself when you're acting. All right. What am I putting in here? If in here is, oh, I'm not really confident with this piece that I've written, I'm not confident with the writing, we'll see it. We'll see that in your eyes. Now, the trained eye, like mine, or casting directors or someone like that, will most certainly, or a director, will most certainly see it, okay? The untrained eye may not. You might get away with it, right? But the trained eye will see it. If you have in your mind's eye, oh, I'm not confident that the lighting is right for my self-tape, or that the sound is right for this self-tape. I'm not confident that I've learnt my lines so that I know them like the alphabet. If I feel that I haven't applied my technique correctly, or I don't have a technique to apply, we're always going to see that, okay? We're going to see that in your eyes. On the other side of it, however, let me get even more specific to acting now. If you put in here an image or some component of your technique, we will see it come through your eyes, as long as you are disciplined, okay? So if you're disciplined enough to go to the gym 2 hours a day and run around a football pitch, you will have a six-pack, right? If you are disciplined enough, right, to put into your mind an image or an objective or some part of your technique and hold it there and keep it there, we will see it come through your eyes. And that's what your technique is designed to do. If you don't use the thing, what's the point of having it, yeah? Okay, let's imagine that you have a scene where your dog has run out on the road today and been hit by a car, okay, and killed, and it's on the road. All right, I know this sounds a bit dark, but stay with me. It's a practical example, all right? Now, you have a little girl who's 5, okay, and she's been at preschool today, or a little creche that she goes to, or whatever it is that she goes to, a Nina or something, and she comes home from school, right? Or you pick her up from school and bring her home. The dog has been removed, etc. And you have to tell her that her little dog is no longer there, right? And you've asked yourself, okay, well, will I say he ran away? What will I do? Because then she's just going to want to go looking, or will I just tell her the truth, all right? I'll tell her the truth, all right? So let's imagine that you put into your mind, you've got that image of that dog dead on the road outside your house, okay? Make it fairly detailed, all right? And then you've got that detailed image, and then you've got in front of you a little girl who's 5 years old. And you need to tell her. Now, what's going to happen to you is you're going to have an objective, all right? You've got an image. You're disciplined enough to hold that in your mind. It's an image that belongs to the character, okay, that you've developed, all right? You've got that. Your desire, right, your objective, is to tell her that her little dog has died and gone to doggy heaven, if that's the way you want to explain it or whatever, okay? More than likely, you're not going to tell her all the gory details. In fact, you would be not a particularly great parent if you did, right? So in front of you is a little girl who you know you have to tell, objective 1, and you'll feel something pull the other way, which is to let her down gently, okay? So you've got objective 1, to tell her. Objective 2, to let her down gently. What happens in you if you are disciplined enough to have dual objectives working within you? plus the image of the dead dog, right? Plus the endowment, the image of a little 5-year-old girl sitting opposite you, you're going to feel sensations. Okay, what I call sensations, some people call them emotions. I prefer to call them sensations because they're very complex, right? They're not singular emotions, right? You're going to feel this pull, right? This tear. Hi. Okay, this is the thing I now have to do. I have to tell her and yet let her down gently at the same time, and all I can see is this white fluffy thing that's partly red lying on the road outside my house, okay? Now, if you're disciplined enough to feel your system, your mind, and your body, if you like, and it is a physical feeling, it's a physical sensation, emotion, okay? If you're disciplined enough to hold all that and then open your mouth and speak and say those lines to that little girl, then we will get everything that you want coming out of your eyes without you manipulating it, okay? Now, if you don't do any of that and instead you've got in your mind, oh, I really don't think the sound is working, oh, I can't really see a 5-year-old in front of my eyes, or that's ridiculous anyway because that's, you know, that's imagination that I don't have, or whatever, we're going to see that. What you put in is what we will see. That's what will come out. Okay, that's how a technique works, right? Okay, what's the worst thing you can do? All right. The worst thing you can do is say to yourself, oh my God, I really need the director or the casting director to see that I can be sad. Okay? So then what you're going to do is you're going to say to yourself, what does it look like? You might even do this subconsciously, but probably consciously. How is that going to look? How can I make it look like I'm sad? Okay? How can I make it look like I'm conflicted? What you're doing then is you're working from the outside in, right? And you're putting an affectation on the front of it, on the top of it, and you're going to have a generalized state of sadness from beginning to end that is unconvincing because you're not really feeling any sadness of any sort anyway, right? So unless you're very good at pretending that, which, you know, you may well be, and that's great, then it's going to come out as looking kind of affected, yeah? So next time you're working on a monologue, next time you're working on a scene, right, ask yourself what's going on in your head. And do you have the technique to push out anything that is to do with you and to put in everything that's to do with the character, okay? Or, in fact, are you not disciplined enough to do that, right? You don't have the technique to do that, and you're allowing yourself to be distracted by, oh my God, I hope they see that I'm going to be sad enough. How sad should I be? Okay, I'm really not confident that I know these lines. You know, my mum's reading the other part opposite me, and that's distracting me too. Or have you used the components of your technique to discipline yourself? What you put in is what we will see come out through your eyes. Then, I better stop talking because I'm well over time, right? But then you need, again, to trust yourself. And that's where the confidence comes from. To trust yourself, to say, okay, I've applied my technique, every component of it, I've put in what I want in my preparation when I've done my homework. Now I'm going to tell this little girl that her little dog has died. Okay? And I trust 100% that if I do that, that will be a great self-tape or screen test or scene, if it's in a movie or a play or a TV series or whatever. Okay? You've got to trust yourself at the end of the day. You know, if you go and learn this technique and invest all of this in it, you might as well trust it and the way you use it. Okay? All right. I hope that was of use to you again, and I hope it answers 3 or 4 different questions that were asked of me by 3 or 4 different actors. All right? Have a good time. All right? Try to be positive if you can. I know it's not easy. I'm not going through a great time myself, but hey, look, we'll soldier on. We will adapt, right? And thanks for your support. I really appreciate it in these not great times. All right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you. Take it easy.